Hello, hi, it's the Rev Pipster here, and thank you very much for tuning into this video. I've been watching a debate on YouTube between Adnan Rashid and James White, and James quotes a scripture from the Qur'an that he says offends him. It was Sura 98, and the ayat was ayat 6. Where it said, from among the people who reject the truth, from among the Kitab, the people of the book, the people of the scripture, which is a clear reference using normal Islamic interpretations and teachings, to refer to Christians and Jews, the people of the Bible, the Torah and the Injil. And for among the polytheists, the people who believe in many gods, will spend eternity in hellfire, and they are the worst of creatures. Now, James said that applies to Christians, Jews and polytheists, which I assume would be Mormons, Hindus, Zoroastrians, all the other religions, basically all the pagans' religions as Islam viewed them at the time. And he said, that the Qur'an teaches that we Christians and Jews are the worst of creatures. We're the worst of creatures. You can insult someone, call them a pig, and then you come and say, well, you're the worst of creatures. Well, pigs are creatures. That means you're worse than a pig. Yeah? Fair analogy, would you say? Muslims, Jews, Christians out there? Zoroastrians, would you say it's a fair analogy? If you're worst, if a pig is a creature and you're the worst of creatures, it means you're worse than a pig. Okay, quite like pigs actually, personally, but there you go. What will our farmyards be without them? Less smelly. Smell of the spring flowers. Now, you have Surah 98, ayat 6 says that these people are the worst of Christians, and James interpreted that to say that it offended him that the Qur'an would teach people that Christians and Jews are the worst of creatures, along with the polytheists. Then in his rebuttal, Adnan stands up and says that it's misapplied because it said those who reject the truth from among the Jews and the Christians are the worst of creatures, not that the Jews and the Christians who accept the truth are the worst of all creatures. Because in the ayat number 7 it goes on to say those who practice the truth and stuff, who follow the message, are the best of creatures. So those who reject it are the worst. And he says, no, we're not calling Christians and Jews the worst of all creatures. The problem is I have is that it clearly says in ayat number 6, it's the truth is the message, and it's people who reject it. And I find it quite incredible that when you read Surah 98, because the recitations of the Quran isn't a chronological story. It's not saying one thing goes through to another, and it's part of a chronological story. It's lots of groups of sayings and stuff. And you have this situation here where Adnan was saying, no, it's not the Jews and the Christians, it's people who are among them who are in error. Well, what are these people who are among them rejecting? The truth. So if we were to look at Sura number 98, we'd actually get an idea of what the truth is, what the message is, what it is that's been rejected, and we might see who are the people who are rejecting it. So you've got here, and you've got ayat number 1 saying that the people of the scriptures and the polytheists will not change their ways until the message is preached to them, the truth is given to them. And then in ayat 2 it goes on to say what this message is, that a messenger will come from Allah, a prophet, who will give them the truth, who will give them pure words, who will give them the laws and decrees to follow, and whatever they do, there's only one thing which is important. Whatever they do, there's still only one thing that's important, and that is to believe in Allah, believe in His Prophet, who's Muhammad. It's clearly talking about the Prophet Muhammad, and to believe in his word, to believe that the Qur'an is the word of Allah. So here you have the Christians and the Jews and the polytheists, the Mormons, the Hindus and everyone else who believes there are many gods, and they're going to be given the message. And the message is Islam. And the Christians and the Jews and the polytheists who accept Islam become what? Do they remain Jews, Christians and polytheists? No, they don't. They become Muslims. They become monotheistic Muslims. They don't, in ayat number 5, ascribe partners to him. They don't do that. They accept Islam, that there is one God, Allah, and Muhammad is His Prophet, and they accept it. And you can't do that without becoming Muslim. According to the Muslims, the Muslim identity, okay, that is the identity of a Muslim. Someone who accepts that there is one God, Allah, and Muhammad is His Prophet, the final Prophet. So you cease to be a Christian after that. You cease to be a Jew after that. But what Adnan was saying in his debate with James is that you could does that mean that? Well, he seems to be confused. I mean, I can't even rationally understand it to be sarcastic any other way. You know, you can't not become a Christian and a Muslim at the same time, which is how Adnan would seem to be trying to say in it, saying, oh, we don't, Christians aren't the worst of all creatures, provided they accept the truth. But if they accept the truth, they're going to become Muslim, because Islam is the truth, the message that's being accepted, and rejecting the truth, which is to believe in the Bible, believe in the New Testament, believe in the Old Testament, believe that Jesus Christ is not a mere prophet, as some Muslims call him, but to accept the message that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, or not even to accept the message of Jesus being the Messiah, to be a Jew and to believe in Yahweh, in Jehovah, as the one true God, and that the Jews are His chosen people, not the followers of some Arabian prophet and descendants of Ishmael, but descendants of Isaac and Jacob, who were led by Moses out of Egypt into the Promised Land. These people, you can't become Muslim and stay a Christian. You can't accept Islam and be a Jew. You have to reject one and take the other. And the ones it's describing in Surah 98 are Jews and Christians who hear Islam and they say, no, we're not accepting what the Prophet Muhammad is saying here, because it does not agree with the Torah and the Injil, who are handed down by the one true God. Okay, so it's not talking about them here. It's not talking about people who try and coexist between both. It's talking about people who become Muslim and people who don't. And the people who become Muslim become the best of all creatures. And if you're a Christian, if you're a Jew, or if you're part of another religion, the Qur'an is quite clear. And James White's interpretation of what the Qur'an is saying in Surah 98 is quite correct. Is that the Qur'an teaches that you are among the worst of all creatures, because you do not accept the truth being, according to the Qur'an, Islam. Okay, so that is correct, and that would mean that either Adnan is mistaken or quoting that verse out of context. Because you're looking in the whole context of the verse, of the chapter, you can see what the message is, and you can see that it's the Christians and the Jews who are indeed, along with the polytheists and pagans, who are indeed being called the worst of all creatures here. And that is the teaching of the Qur'an. Thus becomes the teaching of Islam.